Okay, so this is the third video of the quote board project, and it's going to be the longest video, but this is really where all the magic happens. So I'm back in D116, and I have the flash drive where I saved the file from part 2, and I'm plugging it into the computer in here, and then I have Adobe Illustrator right here, and I'm going to go File, Open, and in here I need to go to my removable disk. And then there's that quoteboard.ai, and I'm going to go ahead and open it up. So this is the image that I created before. Perfect. So I got it loaded onto this computer, this laptop. I need to come over here, and I need to grab a 12 by 22 sheet of black paper, which I have right here. And you're going to put this into the laser cutter, and you're going to kind of line up the top, so the top part is kind of right there. It's perfect. We need to turn the laser cutter on. So right now it's off. You turn it so that it lines on. It should make a little noise here in a second, like a beep noise, just like that. Perfect. So laser cutter's on. We also need to turn on this vacuum right over here, this BOFA vacuum. So we go to the back, right back here. You need to flip that switch on. And you'll hear that kick on. And then the final thing that we need to turn on is this. Do not turn the compressor on until you've actually started printing. So we're going to keep this off. You can see right here it's off right now. We're going to keep it off until we actually start cutting this out. So now that I have this loaded, I'm going to go File, and I'm going to go down to Print. And then over here, I'm going to make sure that the Epilogue engraver is selected. And I'm going to go to, right down here, Setup. And then I'm going to click on Continue. And then I need to go to Preferences. And then in here, we're going to check Vector Only. The size of this is, the horizontal is 24. So I need to type in 24 right there. And the vertical is 12, so I need to type 12 right there. Check autofocus, do not check center engraving. Okay, over here for speed, I need to do, speed is going to be 70, so I need to change this, double click on that, change that to 70. My power needs to be 35, so that's 35, and then the frequency right here, this needs to, and unfortunately you have to drag it, you can't type a number in, we need to drag this down to 500. I'm just going to go ahead and hold this down. This needs to be at 500. Okay, so again, vector, okay, 24 by 12, 24 is the horizontal, 12 is the vertical. Autofocus, make sure center engraving is turned off. And then over here we have 70 is the speed, power is 35, frequency is 500, and then we click OK. Then you have to hit print, and this is going to seem counterintuitive, but notice this hasn't fit kind of on in this area yet. So we go back over to setup, we click continue, we hit print again, and now it fits in here. And yours might be like maybe at the top. You just kind of want to drag this kind of into the center. So I'm going to drag that into the center. That looks perfect. And then you're going to hit print. Okay, now if this worked, over here we should see whatever you saved that AI file listed right there. So I saved mine as quoteboard.ai. We see quoteboard right there. Before we hit go on this, want to make sure we turn on the compressor. Compressor's on now. So now that the compressor's on, we're going to hit the go button. And what this is going to do is this laser cutter is going to cut out the words in on that map board, and it's going to create kind of a pretty cool like a stencil that we're going to use. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video right now while the laser cutter cuts out this stencil. Okay, so so now that this has cut out my stencil, now I want to come back over here. I'm going to turn off the compressor. I can turn off the laser cutter. And I can turn off the vacuum. Once it's completely, now wait until it's completely finished. And if somebody else is waiting in line, obviously, don't take it. And now that I have this, I'm going to go ahead and pull this out of here. And I should be able to kind of push all these things out. So I'm just going to go ahead and pause the video while I push all these out. Okay, so now I have this all kind of punched out. I pushed all those things through. I need to bring this back over to the table that has the paper on it. I'm going to grab my board. Make sure that it's your board so I see my name on the back. So grab the board, and then you're going to use two different things. We're going to use some spray adhesive that kind of looks like this, and then you're also going to grab a color of spray paint. So I kind of want this to be bold and stand out. I'm going to go ahead and use the color, let's see what color, I'll use orange. But you don't have to use orange, it's kind of up to you what color you use. Actually, I'm going to use red. Oh, I'm out of red. I'll use orange. So you can decide what color you want to use. First thing I need to do is I take this, flip it over. So now we're on the back side. You can tell that this is the back side because obviously the text is all backwards. And I'm going to get the spray adhesive right here, shake it up a little bit. We want to spray this spray adhesive just kind of on the back here. Okay? Spray it on the back, and then we're going to wait for about, I don't know, a minute and a half until this becomes tacky. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video now for about a minute and a half, and then I'll resume it once I go to the next step. Okay, so it's been about a minute and a half, and notice if I touch my finger on here, it's just really kind of sticky. You don't want to wait too long. If you wait too long, it's not going to work. So I got my board, and what I'm going to do is I want to kind of take this and center the take on the board, and I'm just going to kind of move this up so that Take Graphic Arts is going to be kind of centered on my board here. And then I'm going to take it and I'm going to push this down on here. Now we need to kind of move quickly for this step. You can't have this mat on this board for more than a minute, okay? Else it's going to stick too much. So I'm going to push this down. Once I push that down, I'm going to shake up that orange spray paint. Pop the orange spray paint off. And then this, I kind of want to do pretty liberal spray paint of that Take Graphic Arts. Alright, that looks good. Really kind of pretty solid. I'm going to go ahead and, now that I've done that, I need to peel this off. And I'm actually going to peel this off when I pause the video. Okay, so I went ahead and peeled that off, and you can kind of see now my board. And what I want to do is I just kind of want to let this dry. This isn't the last step. I'm still going to need to take some sandpaper and rough this up and then tie a string to the back, but we're just going to go ahead and let this set for a little bit. So again, we're going to keep this like this for about 24 hours, and then we're going to finish the next step the following day. So once you have this done, you just want to kind of take this, put it back over here, wait 24 hours, and then I'm going to talk about the next. I'm going to pause the video for 24 hours, and then I'll talk about the next step. Okay, so it's been 24 hours, so my sign has had a chance to dry. So the next step we're still not done yet, but it's been 24 hours, is I'm going to grab some sandpaper right here, and I'm going with the grain. You can kind of see the grain right there. I'm going to go with the grain back and forth this direction. I'm going to lightly sand this. So I'm actually going to prop the phone up right here. I'm just going to kind of take this, lightly go back and forth. Not much. Doesn't take a lot of sanding, okay? You don't need to sand too much. Just lightly going back and forth. This is going to kind of create a more rustic appearance here. It'll blend in some of those white splotches. kind of blend in some of the colors. Yeah, I like that. So that's kind of what it looks like now after I did the blending. You can see I removed a little bit of the white, got removed, and it kind of blended in some of the orange. Still not done yet, okay? But I still have some white on there. You can see some white, so it gives it like a kind of a vintage rustic look. So my last step is, got some screws. You need to take this, flip it over, and I'm going to screw these screws onto the back right here. Now it's really important that you do not screw these screws in all the way. We're going to kind of just screw them in about one turn. So again, just going to kind of position this up. Oops. Let me position this up right here so you can watch what I'm doing. Okay. I'm going to take the screw right here with the screwdriver. I'm just going to kind of pushing a little bit, screwing this in. Now we don't want to go all the way in because you'll actually go through the wood. So you just kind of go in like that, and that looks perfect. You take a look right here, it's actually poking through just a tiny bit. That's okay, but we wouldn't want it to go through anymore. And then I'm going to do the same to the other side of the wood right here. So I'm just slowly screwing this in. Okay, perfect. Didn't quite make it through to the other side. So you can see on the back here, I put those two screws in, and then the front, no screws made it in. So now that we have the back, I'm gonna take this, which is just kind of some string right here. I'm gonna go ahead and cut some of this off. So I'll get the scissors, kind of cut that off, and then I'm going to tie it to the back of this. So I'll just kind of come around here. I'm going to tie it to the back of this. Go a couple times. Just tie just a regular knot into it. There's one. Okay, and then in terms of like how high we want this, we kind of want it to just be hanging like that. So you notice I got like a lot of extra slack. That's okay. Just gonna figure out where I kind of want this, and then I'm gonna use my scissors here, kind of cut off the excess slack, and I'm gonna go ahead and tie this again, just like the last one. There we go. Add this onto here. Okay. And perfect. So now you can see this will hang nicely. And I could hang this up really anywhere I wanted. You know, but if I wanted to hang this up on a door or something like that, then boom, hang that up on a door, and I got my sign done. So that's it. That's part 3, the last part. Once you have this done, take a picture of your work, take a picture of your final kind of poster or quote block, and upload it to the Google Classroom. Let me know if you have any questions.